Hola scientistas, welcomes to the Gutenhames, where we are merging our science, spirituality, mathematics, and the intellect. Not to make them one thing, but to celebrate that they're different things looking for the same thing at the highest end, notably, the truth. And today we are in the business of putting this on our table of discovery, which we will be doing through each one of these lenses individually. Today we want to look through the science lens and talk to the scientists. If you need hooks, the whole thing is hooks. Yeah, everyone wants the lozenge version while it's in your mouth. Just don't bite it. Hang out for a little bit and savor the flavor. Anyone who thoroughly enjoys any one of these mediums for discovery should love what's happening here. And today I want to talk to the physicists, the quantums, the smalls, and the relativity, the bigs. And we just pulled an audible, and we're going to add the math lens in here too. So, welcome mathematicians. And the adjacent metaphysics too, which this kind of thing usually gets filed under, but I want to talk to the real physicists. And I had a scientist Mike. He came in for 2.5 hours to do some recon, and he vetted everything we're going to say here and gave a thumbs up. I asked him at the end, am I crazy? Do we have anything? He's like, oh yeah, I want to come back.
Hi, my name is JT. I work at the Circle K right down here in town, and I just got some thoughts on thermonuclear dynamics that I need to get off my chest.
For my fellow brethren who are in science kindergarten with me, these are filters
that the man tries to keep people like me and JT from getting our shot, baby. These are filters that science uses to keep the riffraff out. These are filters that science has to keep people like me and JT out of the limelight. Naked and afraid, alone in a brave new world.
Falsifiability and testability, they seem to be the same thing to me as they ask the question, what do I have to do to disprove what you're about to tell me? And if there's no way to disprove it, wah wah. The polite way to say it is there's not enough scientific information available for you to present that to science. The impolite way to say it
is, you fucking gimp. Get back in your gimp box. Oh, look at me. I had a thought with some numbers in it.
I saw it in a dream, man. I was perched upon a spotted stallion. And lo, before me appeared the equation. I call it the equation big.
Thank you for letting me have a little fun there. This project is over 3 decades unfolding and still going. This part has not been very fun so far. Level 10 doubt, level 10 imposter syndrome, level 10 out of my comfort zone. Speaking to a camera, which you could tell I'm not very good at yet. So let me use this space of falsifiability and testability to create a little context and clarity. I'm an artist whose life has been dominated by 4 great questions. What is the greatest of the greatest great out of all of the great greatnesses possible? Then came what is the greatest painting possible? Then what is the greatest thought possible? Then what is the greatest experience possible? Those 4 questions became the table of discovery. The answers life gave me to those 4 questions became the SeRe GoBe. Somehow, someway, this Fibonacci golden rectangle has allowed me to present all 4 answers at the same time, magically in one picture. The picture version is greater than the word version, which we're going over now, yet there seems to be a structural flaw in measuring the answers against the questions, which is just another version of itself. So in regard to the table of discovery, we're bringing math and science in to correct that flaw. And look at this thing with a set of fresh eyes and fresh intelligence that's not innate to me. And because I don't know anything about it, it's all fresh new discovery on my end. So in one sense, I'm just like a neuron, looking for like-minded and like-hearted people to create a discussion with. We're testing it. Our first test is with the SeRe GoBe to see if it's of any value. With regard to the SeRe GoBe itself, which is just a 90-second experience that happens every single morning. It just happens so fast that we don't see it. And we're calling it an omnidimensional experience, true across all dimensions, but not necessarily true from every angle or point of view, which AI defined as the absolute. However, there is no instrument, means, ways whatsoever to access the absolute. So any position or angle that you look at it from, that's going to be occurring in the mind. That's thought. It's dualistic, so there's always going to be an opposite point of view. It's kind of a fugazi definition of the absolute. This, however, is an experience from the absolute. Let that sink in. So we are working with a supposition that the absolute cannot see anything that is not true. So there's no way to disprove an experience. What I'm more interested in is the people who want to prove the experience by having the experience. That's the goal. That's my goal, to wake up like this every morning. It's just waking up in the morning. So very simple. Until then, as far as I can tell, we're just going to be working with massive amounts of pattern recognition. We're going to put this portion up and call it the math of all things. Yes, all things. That seems like that should be very easy to disprove. I want to do it right up front if it's going to happen. I don't want to be right. I want to know the truth. That's why I like the table of discovery. These are all mediums for discovery. And from our position, the truth must be true for everybody. It must be true now, must be true here, must be available or accessible somehow, must be measurable or meetable somehow, and in the end it must be effortless. Only the default position of something is effortless. So the truth and its structure should be a default position. And I think that's good for now. There's a number of reasons we're inviting math and science in. I'm very fascinated by both, however. And I'm also going to need you to help me create the greatest painting possible, which, unless my logic is incorrect, should have the highest math, the highest science, the highest intelligence in it, innately. It's kind of like a game or a trick. To find one would be to find all. I've gotten pretty darn far so far in the past 30 years. It's very compelling. So if nothing else, no proving, no disproving at all, this should still be eminently fascinating. This is the first baby steps of two separate but connected structures that I hope may manifest and last 1,000 years, if they're of any value. In our first conversation, that's really what I want to find out. Is there any value in here? And from my very simple point of view, this is a gift that life gave me very literally to give to you, to whoever finds value in it. I told myself 33 years ago that it's coming, pay attention. This is what you came to do, and here it is. The most fun way to illustrate it. Do we have time to tell a story? I like to ramble. I apologize for it. This is over 3 decades long for me. I'm not in a real hurry, and I'm not looking to entertain. And what I'm really looking for is a lifelong conversation of enhanced discovery and discussion from like-minded and like-hearted beings, if for nothing else, for the pure joy of it. And a very fun way to illustrate this is through one of your own. His name is Eric Weinstein, Harvard mathematical physicist. I don't know much about him. I've only seen a few videos, but all of them have been oddly revelatory. Probably because he maxes out the intellect lens, the science lens, and the math lens all in one person. He's like my ideal audience. I want to talk to this guy. But in a video I saw from him last night with the Asian version of Joe Rogan, he brings up, no one asks physicists what they really think underneath it all. The physicist's version of God was essentially what we were getting at. Yeah, in his version, which he's boiled down to an equation, as you would expect a physicist to do, he's boiled it down to what he called the 4 freedoms.
It's like, I don't know what they are, I just know they're there. And structurally, you only need 4 things to create everything.
And unless I'm missing something very structural, and elementary, those 4 freedoms are in here, which is another thing we can disprove. We can't disprove the whole thing, but we can somehow kind of disprove all of the parts of it. So if you're seeing this, Mr. Weinstein, I would love to hear your thoughts on it. It's just as fun as it is serious. And that's why I like this table of discovery, because we're all looking for and finding the same things at the same time. And now, since we're going to merge the math and science lenses together, Saturday is Pi Day. If pi is innate to the structures of creation, it should be in here. I just don't know how to see it. But maybe you do. When scientist Mike was leaving, I asked him, what's your number one conundrum? If you could know anything about science, what would be your top pick? And he picked, I want to know why light acts as a wave and a particle. And knowing nothing about it, unless I'm missing something, not only is it in here, it must be in here. So let's go about trying to find it. What scientist Mike liked was the headlines. He said, start with the hooks, tell the story, don't talk about spirituality. I think we have plenty of hooks already. We're going to address them all, and let's do the headlines. Time-wise, this would have been just a few days before Christmas 2025, which just happened a couple weeks ago. I couldn't do the whole 10 months building this out, but I was like, let's just do the last month of quantum headlines. I had just bumped up my social media science feeds, and they were dominated by the headlines of the Japanese telescope and the James Webb bringing back information that no model of physics knew how to address. It was new information. Stay tuned. Shit's about to get real. Just a few days later, they said quantum physicists think they have found a realm before the Big Bang. That's this black ring right here. My question is, does it help you to know that there's another realm behind that, before it? And do you already know it? It's been written about for thousands of years. And if you really did find this realm, it would be the astral realm. That's a 4th and 5th dimension, so you would essentially have found the end of physics, which would be the 3rd dimensional, the physical world. That's a non-physical realm, so physics is coming to an end according to physics. Just a few days after that, they said the entire universe is one giant black hole. Can you tell where that is? Yeah, right here. A few days after that was quantum physics now thinks the universe is a set of mirrors, a mirror system that just reflects off of something. What is that something? This whole thing is the mirror system, at least the structure of it. We'll go over that too. Does it help you? Does it help you to know? I have no idea. Then, like, right after Christmas, there was a couple. You guys said the quantums, the smalls, the guys looking at the small stuff, found consciousness, which you can't do, but you had just found the mirror system. So, surprise, surprise, a week before. Makes sense. It would be like the eyeball seeing itself. It's impossible. This is the math of the eyeball right here, of math of seeing, structure of seeing. It's all about seeing. And I haven't been online much. Most of it was entanglement, which is something like a particle that has a partner. They're both affected at the same time. Just this whole section here you're looking at is the first version of that. It is entanglement, or the first version of it, or the math of it, or the structure of it. We'll go over that in a minute too. Time is a spiral that folds in on itself. I see that I haven't looked at it, but I see all the headlines from it. I got some chum to throw in the water for that. And just 2 days ago was that you guys think the sun is hollow. This is from my practice version of this a long time ago, called the Gutenhame Sketchbook. It was 6.5 hours. Art is science, and science is art. So there's the shape of this, which is the shape of the universe, which is the shape of the body. the shape of the sun. Have they proven that the center of the sun is emptiness, is nothing? If they haven't yet, I bet you they're going to soon. Art is like the sun, and so are you. That's your shape. Like, how do I know this stuff? I don't. It's not a math I understand, but I experience it. You can experience things that you can't understand. At the center is nothingness. So just for clarity, this was our attempt to tell the story through the intellect lens, which is the Gutenhame equation, the asking and the answering of the question, what is the greatest thought possible? You can see the wheat in there. The idea for this came from E equals mc squared, noticing that E was a big giant concept, but was just shown as a letter, and M and C. It just became clear so quickly, like a child. This is how to tell the story of an event. Individuated pieces, and each one of these is one of that. Stands for a different thing. Now, it didn't work out perfectly. It wasn't complete. It became complete with the picture, which makes sense since I'm an artist. And I only noticed this because we included the math lens as we went along. So thank you, math. Thank you, science. Both of these structures came from you. So far, the more I've added math and science, the more it comes together, not fall apart. This is the most exciting lens to look through for me, but the least exciting for everyone else, it seems. Usually this kind of stuff gets thrown in the bucket of metaphysics, the study of structures that don't move, that exist before the study of structures that do move, which is physics. But our painting has both, so where's the line? Where's the line where science won't cross? That's what excites me. Physically, in the painting, the line between metaphysics and physics is right here. As a layman and a novice who only follows headlines but doesn't really understand, I didn't know that some of the quantums kind of allow for metaphysics, that Schrödinger loved the Upanishads and Vedanta, which is the closest thing to this. That's very exciting. I just found that out. That's good for a structural introduction. We'll close out with some quotes from scientists, without which I would not be talking to you. My favorite science experiment of all time. You guys proved that human beings heal 32% faster in the presence of original fine art. That's one of my cornerstones. I would not be talking to you without that. And the question we're asking from it is, how do we get that 32% to 42, 52, 62? So far, this is the answer that life gave to me for these questions. And it really has nothing to do with me at all. I don't even get a vote in it. And the best part is I get to be as much of a witness as a participant. The best part is always in the not knowing. It's in the discovery. And you have to not know if you want to discover. And when we come back for part 2, we'll dig right in and see if we can break some shit open. We'll throw a whole bunch of spaghetti against the wall and see if we can get something to stick. With Mathematicians, we'll try to see if we can find the structure, at least, of pi and phi, the golden ratio, which this is directly attributed to, so we should be able to find that. The structure of light as wave and particle. Eric Weinstein's 4 freedoms. The structure of the universe, possibly being one giant black hole. The structure of the universe being possibly a system of mirrors. The structure of entanglement. Did I miss anything? Let's throw on one more. We're going to go way over the edge. This is the craziest one of all. And I can only say this to my friends working in the realm of discovery. Because if you want to discover, you have to seek. And a mind that thinks it already knows the answer to something will not seek what it already thinks it knows the answer to. And I think 85% of humanity, that's what it seems to work from a mental plane and structure of knowing, which is not a bad thing. They're just not going to be my audience. If I get one of these things wrong, They'll reject everything I say hereafter. I think if we get half of one right, it's a massive win. And I'm not trying to be right. I want to know the truth. I don't think the average person understands how much people working with discovery are not attached at all to the outcomes of their looking. We want to be surprised. That's the fun of it. Here in the Gutenhame, we call I don't know the 6th greatest thought, because you can't find the first 5 greatest thoughts until you understand the 6th. And you could make the case for it being the first too. Dozens and dozens of the guys asking the big questions, like Einstein. So in this spirit of playful examination, the juiciest, haughtiest, most crazy hook that I could put out there involves the theory of everything, which, if I understand correctly, is pretty simple. You have general relativity, which is how big things work. You have quantum mechanics, which is how small things work. And they work off 2 totally different set of rules that are incompatible with each other. They do not interact at all. And what's missing is the piece in the middle that connects those 2 things. And again, unless I'm missing something very structural, and most likely very simple, if I can deliver this correctly in part 2, a 10-year-old who's never heard of physics at all should be able to at least structurally tell you what that middle part is that's missing in the theory of everything. Thank you for being here. Thank you for playing. I hope to see you in part 2. And until then, be bold and love on.